All right, popping back in for another segment. You know who it is, Professor Nelm, sign on with Coach Dave. Your man, Boston Jed.
Peace.
We are Sands, a casual rant, but we are the Pundits of Pugilism. Make sure that you like and subscribe, not to waste a lot of time with the pre-fight pleasantries. Let's talk about two fighters this weekend, two top-ranked fighters. We got your man, Xander Zayas, who had a step-up in competition against Patrick Teixeira, former world champion at junior middleweight. And we also had your boy, Shu Shu Carrington, who was also in action this weekend. So let's first start off with Xander Zayas, who is this was his first headlining card. This was a big step up in competition for him. I actually kind of mentioned, just on the thread that we had, that I thought he looked a little kind of pensive before the fight, just a little bit tight, like really just in his head, thinking about the moment. Maybe the moment was kind of getting to him. I don't think he fought like that. I actually thought he fought a pretty good fight. Let's start with Coach Dave. How would you, if you were the professor, what kind of grade would you give your boy Xander Zayas in his kind of first real step up? This is, a former world champion that he took on this weekend.
I would definitely give him I would have gave this fight on his step up a B. I'd have gave him a low B.
Solid B. Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying that is just because I saw a couple of critical things. Really two of them that I think that by now he should be, well past. Number one thing, man, that really scared me is that, even though that uppercut was looking good, whenever he would throw that straight brick hand, man, whenever he would throw that straight that brick hand, that cross, that his rear leg would come up with as he threw that punch, and he would literally square up, man. You know what I'm saying? So that really worried me. And then also, I just think him being able to stalk and to cut the ring off properly, especially when you get a person hurt, that's significant, because I mean, if you can get to a person the right way, especially when he's hurt, man, if you can cut that ring off, you got a good chance at getting up out of there and going home early, man. So those two things right there is what made me drop the grade, significantly, if I'm being real honest. But let's be crystal clear. There was a heck of a lot more positive. You guys still just keep fighting me on this stuff. You fought me, but Garrett fought me on Tank, way back early on. And now with Xander Zayas, I'm telling you, this kid, man, it is the technique that's developing, and he gets better. It seems like every single fight he gets better. It reminds me of when I kept telling y'all about like Alicia Baumgartner. It's something about like they keep getting better and better every fight. So in this fight, I'm looking at the punch combination, and I'm looking at the punch selection. I wasn't too happy with the punch delivery on some of his punches.
I was going to say,
okay, because he was wide and kind of open, but the punch selection, the thoughts, and even to a point to where I like how he stayed in the pocket a little bit, but I don't like how he was not extremely elusive in the pocket. Once we start talking about, Shu Shu, then you'll see what I'm saying. But overall, I'm trying to tell you guys, man, it's something about the technique, and when he's in his mindset and he's just executing the fundamentals of boxing, this kid is absolutely gonna be dangerous, man. You know what I'm saying? But he's still young, and even more of those developing, flaws that's there because he's still developing. It was alarming. And then more so than anything, man, just that right foot coming up when you throw your right hand is scary. because you're leaving yourself squared up and wide open, man. So I hope they fix that. But I love this kid, man. So so again, low B for me. You know what I'm saying?
So with that said, I do want to acknowledge that he is 21 years old. He seems to kind of been, fighting for like a few years. So it just kind of, speaks to his youth. He has a solid frame. He's 5'10", so we might see him in his career at super middleweight, maybe even light heavyweight. Just kind of depends. But speaking of, I don't think he has any issues at this young of age making junior middleweight. Do you, Boston Jerry? Do you see a future king of this division?
It's going to depend on who's in the division. I mean, he's a guy to me who his ceiling is, I don't want to say low to make it sound like I'm insulting the kid. I do think he's a good fighter. I think he's a solid fighter, but I do think his long-term success in this sport is going to depend greatly upon who he's matched up against. I just don't see. I don't see the talent. I don't see the potential. Is he going to be a good fighter? He is a good fighter. He's going to continue to improve. But yeah, I just don't know.
What you basing this off of, Jed, man? I need to know that, because to be honest with you, this kid probably, between amateurs and pros, bro, this kid probably only had he hasn't had over 40 fights. I think he might have had. Let me pull him up in BoxRec, because you can look at the amateur records in BoxRec.
That's it. Fair enough. I don't know how many amateur fights he has, but again, and this is why I brought up the other guys who I brought up last week. When I brought up the Abdullah Mason, David Morrell, Floyd Schofield, I think we brought up Brian Norman Jr., Shu Shu Carrington. Those guys appear to be better fighters. They're just more versatile. Now, those guys, to your point, Dave, might have a lot more fights. And if they do have a lot more fights, then that's fair. For me, I'm gonna just have to sit here and just wait for this kid to get some more experience under his belt. I just don't see it. And it could be because the kid just doesn't have enough fights. The problem is he's top 3, top 5 in a lot of these sanctioning bodies now, isn't he? If we look at
the highest ranking I've seen for him is he's 7 in the WBC. He's 5 in the WBO, and then he's 11 in the IBF, and he doesn't seem to be ranked for the WBO.
I mean, I see he's right behind Erickson Lubin in that WBO, man. I would not want this kid anywhere near Erickson Lubin right now.
Really? I would take that fight.
I would agree with Jared on that, honestly. Maybe 2 more fights, I would be trying to get Lubin.
Yeah, Josh Kelly. Look, this division, it's kind of wide open. You got Crawford's in the division, but Crawford's on this kid's radar, right? Let's just get that out of the way right here. But I'm looking at that. Josh Kelly, that might be an interesting fight for him. The rest of these guys, I don't know a heck of a lot about. I wouldn't put this kid anywhere near Virgil Ortiz. I don't even know if I'd put him in there with Conwell.
Put him in there.
You said what, Dave?
Maybe Conwell. Maybe. Lubin, no. Ortiz, no. Conwell, maybe, bro. Strong, maybe.
So y'all.
Not Tim Zhu either.
Oh, hell
y'all rate Lubin pretty high. I mean, I'll definitely don't bring him around Zhu.
He got some development, guys. So I'll let Boston finish, but I'm just saying, and I'm gonna do a little bit of research on that thing, Jared. Maybe you can text me the names, but let me take a look at the BoxRec and see what's going on. But I just think that has something to do with definitely the experience, but even more so than the experience in the fights. I got to really start digging into his training, man, because I'm not.
That's what I would like to look. I mean, some insight into.
And to be fair, let me make this point, Dave. And to be fair, Patrick Teixeira is probably a tougher opponent than probably any of those guys I named has fought so far. The prospects, his peers. So let me also point that out, and that's to Dave's point. And I'm someone who's big on strength of opposition. I always bring that up. If we look at all those guys I named, your Morrells, your Masons, your Schofields, I don't think any of those guys have got a former champ. And Teixeira is a solid guy. Teixeira is not a world beater, but he is a good, solid fighter with a lot of experience, amateur pedigree.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
think
he's pretty much, you know, there's no special effects. He's pretty much what
isn't,
what you see is what you get, you know.
If we look at Morrell's resume, if we look at Schofield's, we look at Mason's, we look at
but
Carrington's, there isn't a Patrick Teixeira on any of those guys' resumes.
But let's be honest, Morrell passes the eye test. And I think a lot of us are looking at that. Like Morrell passes the eye test, and he comes from that Cuban amateur boxing community that is like
allegedly 300 amateur fights. That is a lot of rounds boxed.
It is. So coach
Morrell.
David Morrell. And so coach, with Xander Zayas, right? So he's 19 and 0 with 12 KOs. His amateur career spanned from 2007 to 2018, and he had more than 130 bouts. And he won 11 national championship tournaments.
Oh, Zayas did?
Yeah.
Okay, Dave. Yeah, that's a lot of fights. That's what the Americans kids usually get, over 100.
So that's probably less than Ryan Garcia, right? I think Ryan Garcia might have had more fights than that. But you know,
I don't know. But Dave, yeah, that's a lot of fights, Dave. He's got a few rounds, Dave. He's boxed a few rounds. Hey, and to be clear, I don't know that Morrell has 300. That might have been one of the other Cubans. I think Morrell's got less than that, but he's got a lot. He's got a lot. Morrell's got a lot.
Then I'm going back to the training then, bro. I'm going back to the training. Looking at the techniques and looking at the stuff that he's still doing, that's some amateur stuff in terms of, you know, so, but I still think the kid at 21, that name, his name going to be, he going to cement his spot, bro. This kid has some basic fundamentals, but lack, I think, some of the technical application discipline. That's what you're talking about. When I say application discipline, I mean, I know not to throw this right hand. I know not to jab and do the bow and arrow. Those are technical application disciplines that must be just straight up ingrained in every fight. Definitely by the time you hit pros, man.
Mm-hmm. Dave, let me ask you this. Do you think he beats Brian Mendoza, who recently lost to Tim Tszyu?
Oh, bro. So,
right. That's my thing. What about
okay, I mean, okay, so like you kind of came to me and was in fair and said, okay, to Dave's point or whatever. Honestly, I the inexperience, I think, based off of, because I didn't know how many amateur fights he had. I only was tracking on just a couple of them, to be honest. I didn't know he had 100 fights. I think that it is the level of trainer. I think that's what I'm seeing. And after today, for me to give this kid such a low score, a low B, and I'm talking about whatever in high school, whatever the lowest, 86 to 90 is a B. He was at the 86 after this performance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. I give me 2 more fights, man. Let's get a kid 2 more fights, and let's come back and relook, man. Let's come back and relook.
What about Castano off of a 2-year layoff? I think Castano.
But yes, yeah, I would. But still, that's going to be a dangerous fight. But after a 2-year layoff,
yeah, that's going to be a dangerous fight.
But look, that would be one of the ones that will have cats like you still saying, okay, yeah, but what about? But yeah, I would let him fight Castano.
Castano, if he would have beat Castano legit, not off no controversial bullshit, if he beat Castano, Dave, that would be a huge win for a kid with his resume where he's at now. That puts him well ahead of his peers. To me, Boots Ennis don't got no Castanos. Boots Ennis don't even have a Teixeira on his resume.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
let me Lipinets. I don't know.
I think the boy got but Castanos is one I think that has a lot of wear on him, bro.
Yeah, a lot of amateur fights too. He's long amateur career too.
Yeah, a lot of wear on him, bro. So that's what will make me say, But I won't belabor the point, man. I gave him a B. he's still high ranked in terms of my my up and coming list. You know what I'm saying? In terms of talent wise among the up and coming list, I don't have him ranked as high as Shu Shu. You
So
know,
let's segue into that. So let's turn our attention to Shu Shu Carrington, who took on Brian D. Gracia this weekend. He stopped him in the 8th round. TKO. It was pretty much a kind of a systematic kind of
Clinical destruction. Yes.
clinical. He looked sharp. He looked focused. He was trying to get his opponent out there, but he wasn't rushed in a sense. And for me, it was affirmation for all of my views on him. I think somebody who can be seen as a future star at featherweight. He improved to 12-0 with 8 knockouts, and he's also. And it was funny that we were kind of a little bit of premonition in that your boy Naoya Inoue was in attendance for that fight, and we know that he was there to watch Shu Shu Carrington because after he won the fight, Inoue left the arena. He didn't even stay around for the main events in there. But we'll go back to we'll go back to you, Boston Jared. So give us your impressions about Shu Shu Carrington, and if you had to grade him, if you were his professor, like how would you rate this performance?
Look, I give this performance an A, but I tell you what, it wasn't a very, very hard test. I think this guy was a solid guy, and I think I pointed that out in our prediction and breakdowns last week. I hadn't seen much of this guy. Just looking at his record, 29-3, probably a solid guy. I wasn't blown away by the opponent. This wasn't a guy who I expected to trouble Bruce based off the first few rounds of the fight. When comparing a guy like Bruce Carrington to a guy like Xander Zayas, I think the ceiling for a guy like Bruce Carrington is vastly higher. I think you're talking about a kid who's just a more talented fighter. Having said that, I now have to put Bruce Carrington in the same category, the same box that I put guys like David Morrell and Schofield. Oh, man.
hey,
Oh, you back.
My bad. I had a little issues with the with this new laptop that I'm dealing with. So but I am back and whatnot. So we could just actually it stopped recording. Actually
Then you started again. It said recording in progress.
oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like that. So did you want to finish your point or do you want to just start over with this segment?
he
I was I was pretty much finished. I said, hey, I don't need to see this guy in front of the guys that level anymore, man. I mean, let's see him in there with a maybe a Josh Warrington if that fight is doable. I believe Warrington is a Queensberry guy too, and Top Rank and Queensberry do business. I would love to see him in there with a Warrington. Joet Gonzalez, I don't know if I need to see that. Neri's coming off of a loss. Fulton's been inactive. Robesi might be a good fight for Robesi. And he's right behind Robesi Ramirez in the WBO.
Everybody you name, bro. Everybody you name would be good. Even Neri's that came off. Everybody you name.
So yeah, that's it for me in Shu Shu.
Okay, so you basically look at him as it sounds like you're saying one more fight and then he should be fighting for a title.
No. Next, well, as far as a title shot, look, I mean, that's based off of your ranking, right?
You saying
there we go. Thank you, Dave. Yes.
Give me a former champion or somebody ranked, in between 1 and 7.
Warrington or Robesi Ramirez?
Yeah. Give me
one of those two guys.
Or someone ranked between 1 and 7.
All right. Coach, what did you think? Because I think Boston and I were kind of in the same camp where we were. We do view Shu Shu Carrington's ceiling a little bit higher, even though he's the older fighter. He's 27 years old, but he just seems to have that it fighter. He's got those things that you really can't teach, even though he's very technical, he's very sound and whatnot. But he just seems to just have these kind of otherworldly gifts, within the ring. Do you? How would you look at him as? Do you think that he is the future king of the featherweight division?
I think Shu Shu gonna be a problem, man. I absolutely agree with. Really ain't got no amplifying remarks than what Boston said. Just from a coach's angle, and I like the way that Boston said, look, man, the opponent might have been solid, but he was a 2-week step in. I appreciate that, but so with me knowing that, with a boxer's from a coach's angle, I'm looking at delivery of punches. I'm looking at the same thing that I just dogged Xander Zayas on. I'm looking at boots. I mean, not boots. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Shu Shu, and everything, man, was the opposite, man. Like I'm telling you, man, I love the way the kid was in the pocket. I love the way the defenses was there. I love basic, just fundamental stuff. I never seen him really just throw like, okay, just one shot. But at the right time, he knows to always turn that hook behind that brick hand when it comes. And then he caught me off guard, man. I'm looking at the delivery of the basic, fundamental, technical applications of the sweet science. And that boy had this daggone, man, that right hand of his, man, that little sneaky, we in my camp, we call it a short brick. A little short right hand was sneaky and quick.
He just kind of turns it over. It's a really it's kind of Floyd-esque, like in the sense like Floyd he would be able to be in the pocket and be able to really turn over that right hand on him and get a good amount of leverage on it. And he would only need a few inches to be able to kind of turn over that right hand.
I give you this though. Now I'm not comparing this boy to Floyd. All right. But here's why I would say coming out that thing is a little different. Floyd's right hand, it almost seemed it would come straight, Chris, but it would come more pushing instead of with Shu Shu's. Because I'm going for that snap. I'm going for that. Yeah. I'm going for that snap. It just came with, to me, more authority. More bad intentions when he released it, man. Compared to, Floyd would throw his and it might push you. And don't get me wrong, even when Floyd, beat down Gotti, I mean, Floyd, the boy can fight, what I'm saying, pretty boy can fight, but that Bruce shorthand coming out of that role, it just had more murderous intentions.
I wouldn't argue with that. I think that I'm glad that you brought that up because I think that they're a little bit different. And the Gotti fight is a perfect example because if you remember at one point, it was like right at the end of the round. I think it was like the 4th or 5th round. But Floyd kind of threw that. But he threw like 2 punches and it was like bah, bah. And it was like, I think because Shu Shu is really punching through his opponent, right? So he might not kind of give you that 1-2, that quick snap. So it's a little bit different than Floyd's, where Floyd just kind of turned Gotti's head, but like with Shu Shu, he's popping that neck back in a sense. Yeah, I think that's a great illustration. So I mean,
you want the grade? I give an A.
All right. So let's just end this. So what do you make of Naoya Inoue showing up at this fight? I think that I like the fact that Naoya Inoue is always looking for challenges, which I'm a big fan of his. I mean, I don't think there's something that I've been able to hide. I think that technically he is he's not on the level of Shu Shu or whatnot, but I think that he's
Inoue isn't?
Wait.
I don't think so. I think that Inoue sacrifices being a more dynamic and explosive fighter. And then so he gives away, like, I think with Shu Shu, you would have never seen Shu Shu get caught with that type of punch that Neri caught him with, because he was almost squared up, right? And it's just like you won't see Shu Shu's feet getting that close to being parallel. So I think that he sacrifices that to be a little bit more dynamic, and he's just a more of a powerful person. You just kind of look at his build, like look at his legs and all those other things. He's just a more of a powerful, more dynamic fighter than Shu Shu. But I think Shu Shu has a bit of a lead when it comes to the technical proficiency.
I think that if Inoue had a little bit more respect for Neri, you wouldn't have seen him make that kind of a mistake. You didn't see him. You saw him. He boxed perfectly against Fulton. He boxed perfectly against Fulton, against Tapales, against Donaire the second time after he got his eye broke. He knows when to lock in and be disciplined. So I get where you're coming from, and that's fair to a degree, but we have not seen Inoue make those types of mistakes and get caught with those kind of shots against opponents where you could see that he was clearly, there's a higher respect level. He came in a little bit overconfident. He was feeling himself a little bit too much against Neri. Neri made him pay. Neri's a professional, world-class fighter. Neri made him pay for not taking him seriously. I don't think you would see him take that approach against Bruce Carrington. And I think him showing up, look, he could have been comp tickets, maybe, I don't know, but Japan is on the other side of the fucking world, right? He wasn't in New York City for the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Maybe he was. Maybe that's his thing. Maybe he's into that. Can't knock him. Anybody who's been to the Puerto Rican Day Parade, right? But I think that his being there definitely was significant. And the fact that he did not stick around to watch Xander Zayas and left after the Carrington fight, I think that speaks volumes. Very, very interesting to see what happens next for both of these guys. Inoue has already shot down the idea of going up in weight. Looks like he's going to hang around at featherweight for a little while. And it looks like
junior featherweight, because he's at 122 now. Talking about Inoue.
Oh, then you know what? Damn, then that's interesting, because he was pretty specific about not going up in weight. So that really begs the question what he would have been doing.
He was, yeah. I mean,
fighting what Carrington must know something then. Carrington must know something. Carrington called him out. They both work with Top Rank.
And he definitely paid attention to that. And I don't know if it was, Bob Arum or, I mean, there's other kind of voices that are a little bit more prominent now. Bob Arum is kind of almost the kind of mascot, if not for Top Rank. But Coach, I mean, what do you think about Inoue's presence? Right? Do you think it's something to talk about?
Look across the board. Look across the board at 126. And to be honest with you, Nuri, he's out. Fulton, he's out. Even whoever, Vargas, Ford, whoever seriously, who do you guys see at 126 solidly giving Inoue the business, bro?
How are you gonna take them punches, Dave? That we gotta look and see. Inoue is not
if he boxes
Whitaker, he's not these guys that can. He's got quick feet. He does have good feet. Look, it's a fair question, Dave. I just don't know how the power is going to carry up, and I don't know how he's going to take those punches. I gotta see him in there.
But who? Okay. I got it. You took in one thing. What? Let's take the holistic look and stuff. You got the punches. Who do you see outboxing this dude, man, at 126? Take Shu Shu out. Who you see really boxing this dude? And I'm talking about look across the board at every champion in that division.
Man, I would still like to see him in there with Robesi.
No,
that's the only guy.
Talking about Shu. But the question was Inoue. So Inoue up to 126. Which one of these dudes?
Robesi, the guy with 2 gold medals.
So
Yeah, I
so
mean,
each,
but he's got losses and he's not even a champion at this point.
What Dave said, who do I think would outbox that? I give this guy a challenge. I said that the guy with 2 gold medals, I think
Wow.
that the best
Really?
shot. I'm not saying I would pick Robesi, but Dave's question was who has the best shot? The guy with
Okay,
the
yeah,
2
okay,
gold
okay.
medals at them little weights. And we all of us have been watching boxing. Dave, you're very familiar with those lower weight classes.
yeah,
You can't
right.
just show up. You can't just show up and get 2 Olympic gold medals in them little ass weight classes. Them guys can fight down there.
Yeah.
So
And
so not so
so,
not Raymond Ford or Ray Vargas. You don't see
bro,
them as challenges.
I think Inoue deals with those guys, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just
I'm not
telling
mad. Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
you, those guys, bro. And so, but it's funny that you mentioned Robesi because that's the same cat that you said about that you would like to see Bruce go against. You know what I'm
You did
saying?
say that.
So my point of it is, Inoue to come all the way over from to fly across the waters, man. He might be looking at, I got undefeated here. He might be looking at, hey, if Crawford gonna set his legacy and get 3, hey, maybe let me try to.
I think
Yeah.
he absolutely, and I think that he's looking at that weight division, and I think he's looking at food.
He's got to be. He's
There.
got to be. So maybe, and the guys at Pro Box, Malinaji and Algeria and those guys, I'm almost certain that they reported he had said no to 126. But it seems like, the old adage, watch what they do, not what they say, sometimes. And it's like
Yeah.
guys showing up flying from Japan to New York to watch Carrington. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It looks like he maybe had a change of heart. I don't know. It seems to indicate he's going to be moving up.
Yeah, I think he's the type of person that likes to challenge himself. He thrives in those moments. I think that he is like keenly focused on being an all-time great.
He's a competitor.
He
He's a
is.
competitor, like his peers, like Usyk and like Crawford. Unlike certain other fighters who we got to talk about coming up here in other segments.
It was, but I do want to kind of acknowledge what you had talked about, and so he as far as the move to featherweight, this is from Boxing Scene, just from a couple of days ago, and then this is what Inoue had talked about. Although fans are eager to await Inoue's potential move to another division, Inoue has stated that when I'm ready to go up in weight and when my body is ready, he explained when and if he will raise in the kind of weight again. But he does, have those guys in there. So it's like it wasn't necessarily kind of a shutdown, but it was that basically I'm going to do it on my terms, and you're not going to necessarily kind of pressure me to kind of move up. But I think that he's a smart fighter. If he sees any kind of flaws or anything within those champions, I think that he's going to go after them. I think he's going to see blood in the water, and he's going after them.
Remember the business side of it too, guys. If we look at 122, aside from Morajan, which is still a fight I would like to see, I don't know that any networks are really chomping at the bit to pay for David Picasso. This guy's got mandatories, right? This guy's got David Picasso as his number 1 in the WBC. He's got a guy named Sam Goodman as his number 1 in the IBF and WBO. I don't know that anybody really wants to see those fights. I don't know that there's any demand for those fights. Morajan is the only name left at 122 pounds. And I'm not sure how easy that fight is to make. You would think a guy like Turki maybe gets involved, but it doesn't seem to be a huge demand for those little guys to fight in Saudi Arabia. Maybe the Japanese throw Morajan some money. I don't know. So the point is, look, he might not want to move up. His body might not be ready to move up, but the business of boxing, aka Bob Arum and his handlers, might be saying, "Hey, look, this is what we need to do based off the dollars and cents." So,
all right. All right, very good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this session up and move on to this coming week's fight. All right.
Man.